Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Unemployed to Unstoppable. We've reached the end of the first season. We'll take you through the end of season review. We'll have a little bit of a look at what we're going to do in terms of the transfer window, and then we'll have a quick review at the end of the episode to see how we did in meeting them goals and perhaps, if time, squeeze in the first game of next season. So stick around, it should be a good episode. Welcome back. So here we go, season review of the first season in charge of Budafok MTE, or Budafok as it's called on the club screen. In terms of the new arrivals, transfers coming in, a lot of these were done before we got in here, so not one of them was a player signed by us. I mean, Christopher Zaretto, he's probably one of my favourite players playing on the right wing. Barani played most of the games for us at right back. Moreni, he was that under 20 player towards the end of the season. Coxis we used to use for kind of an attacking midfielder towards the end, but the other ones were largely unused. In terms of transfers going out again, we got rid of Fakete, Horvath and Giore just to try and reduce the wage budget towards the end of the season. Takax was gone before we got there, as well as Nagy, so loans out as well. Bent Molnar, again, not really one we've seen too much of. In terms of the season's results then, we've managed to finish 7th in the end, so towards the end of the season, where you left us. We did alright, we won a couple of games, but then we kind of fell away. We got a few injuries, and then towards the end it was almost like the players are on kind of holiday mode. But largely it didn't really affect too much in terms of positions, because even if we'd won them 2 games, we'd have more than likely just finished in exactly the same place. So from where we were down in 15th, 16th to finishing 7th was actually quite a successful season, and that's reflected in the board message of an A-. They're pleased that we've achieved top half finish considering we're within the relegation zone. Hungarian Cup wise, a bit unlucky to go out to Kisvada 2-2. We went out on penalties, but again it wasn't our priority. The priority was to get out of the relegation mire. Moments to remember then, a big win, a match to remember of a 1-1. We weren't there for that one in particular, and again another 3-2 away win for the goal of the season, but nothing really standoutish. Club reputations remain the same, nothing new in terms of sponsorship. All our avenue revenues have gone up, and in terms of merchandise we're not doing too bad. Horvath, as we've said before, he's one of the better players, plays on the wing. Kovacs and Nemeth, 2 of the better players at the club, Pinter, Zaretto, and it's no odd reflection that they're the players that we've looked to keep. They're the front kind of 4 or 5 players that we've used for nearly every game. Kovacs top scorer, etc. How we lined up then, again this is the formation we started with. We had 2 holding midfielders. We very quickly realised that wasn't getting us the points we needed, and morale was dropping, results weren't coming in. We ended up putting them 2 into centre midfielder and having 1 drop back just in front of the back 4, which gave us a massive improvement in terms of results. But as a snapshot, using that formation, that is probably a fair reflection of the players we used. Again, Fotchik come in towards the end of the season. He wasn't there when we first turned up, but that is probably fairly accurate. In terms of accolades and awards then, our player of the season from the fans was Kovacs, no surprise there. Young player of the season, Pinter, who we're trying to keep down on a new contract. Signing of the season, Vegetale, he was the only one that we brought in, and again I think he could be one that develops and gets a bit more playtime this season. Goal of the season was Bent Coxis. He's in on loan, his loan's going to expire and he'll disappear. Top scorer Kovacs, most assists Horvath. Most man of match awards, probably linked to his goals, was Kovacs. Highest average rating player was Pinter. And most passes completed per 90 minutes is Vaziksu, who's our centre half, which is a bit surprising to me. In terms of record broken, we'd seen the hat-trick for Ola a couple of games. It was off stream, but we did see the result. Most goals by a player in a match, again 3. Most assists in a season was 7. Most clean sheets with 10 for Gundul Batakak, so he's done quite well. 6 most man of match awards. So again, we've broken a lot of records. These are probably just tied to the fact it's a new save, so we won't read too much into them. But what we will do, look, as the seasons go on and we move up the leagues and we move club to club, we'll see if we can break some of those. Manager timeline, again, we've only really taken over. We were there for about 8 months. Nothing really in terms of that kind of timeline, which again, this is new to me, which I quite like though. Too hard by Budafok. Some players returned in the transfer window. We got the signing of Daniel Vegetale. He's been described as a talented youngster, which is nice. Club record is we won 4 matches in a row, which was that little purple patch we had. And then investing in potential, we've got another youngster, Roland Vajda, who we'd mentioned in the previous episode out of the trial list. He was the only one we were going to offer a contract, which we have. He signed and being on the 15th of June, so that's not too bad. In terms of the other stuff that's coming in, we've got the vision and expectation meeting. Again, it's changed from being avoiding relegation to wanting a top half finish. I think possession football, set pieces, high tempo, all favoured within the wage budget. We're on course now because we're in a new season, so the wage budget's changed. So it's not actually as bad as we were before, so we're now in the positive. We've actually got a little bit of transfer money to spend, which we'll revisit in a minute. But we'll just accept that. I don't think there's any reason to really change it, so we'll accept the current vision. End of season team meeting I'll do in a minute, off camera, and everyone will disappear for it. End of season break, so I'll click through until we get to June and the contracts expire. We'll then have a look at the squad plan and see what we need to bring in. We'll set ourselves some targets, and then we'll hold ourselves to account of trying to meet them targets. So stick around. I'll be back very shortly with the bare bones after all the players have left. Welcome back. So I've clicked through, I've got to June. The loan players have left. The players whose contracts we didn't renew, which was mostly the older players who we didn't think would add much value moving forward, needed to get the wage budget down a little bit. They've all gone. That's left the squad looking what I would describe as a little bit threadbare, so there's plenty of work for us to do. When you put this into the squad planner, as you can see, there's some positions looking really weak, the back four especially. So just as a quick snapshot, we're probably going to need a third keeper, a youngster, so we've got a first team keeper who's pretty good, a good backup, we just need a youngster, so that's not too bad a position. Again, he's more of a backup, Kalmar. I think we need to bring in a first choice left back, and then we've got Tamas Bozo, who's our promising youngster, 15 years old. He's come through the youth system, but he's not ready yet. Centre back, I mean, we've got Lorenz and Hagozi. I'll let the vice captain leave because he was causing us massive issues in terms of squad morale and challenging decisions, so he's gone. We have just brought in a new player, if I can find him. So say Shidarik Shiremne, we'll bring him into here. He's coming on a free transfer from Ghana. Again, big, tall defender, lots of natural fitness, good physical attributes. He can head it, he can tackle. So again, he's coming in there as a filler for that position. Again, he fits that under 21 role for the first team if necessary. So he's there to bolster the numbers, but we're definitely going to have to bring in some kind of first choice player to challenge Hagozi and Lorenz at that centre half position. Right back, again, Lorenz, he's a centre back, so we're going to need at least 2 right backs. Otherwise, we'll have to bring somebody up from the youth system. So again, we're already looking at a left back, a centre back, a right back. Defensive midfield wise, we're not too bad. We've got lots of defensive type midfielders. So Ola Nandori, who wants away. Molnar's come back off loan as a young prospect. Vegetali obviously came in at the end of last season as a young prospect. And Kasonka's in there. But what we need to do is find out maybe one really good attacking midfielder and maybe another first team midfielder to really make that a competitive trio of positions. So 2 midfielders, 1 of each back 4. Attacking on the left's not too bad. We're quite strong there. I mean, Pinter's more of a right-sided. We've got Horvath, Soreto, he can play either. So we've got a little bit of coverage in that area. Again, what we might look for is an understudy, so a young player with a bit of development potential. And then up front, we've got Kovacs and we've got Goretzka, who's a kind of a backup. We might just keep our eye out if something is an opportunity signing, really. And certainly at least 1 young developing player to put in there. So in terms of players to come in, that's why I make that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players. Ideally 6 of them first team players, but we've got a little bit of wiggle room. What we've got in terms of the budget then, 71,000 transfer budget, 4,000 or nearly 5,000 wage budget. We've got a lot of players scouted. There's still some players out there and available on really low fees. So what I'll do is I'll get to work. I'll look through what players have been scouted from the end of last season, what players have been released that were on a good kind of assessment. We'll get some players in on trial. We'll see if they're suitable or not, and then we'll look to bump out this squad as we go along. I'll just dip in and out and tell you who comes in as they come in. Again, just to show you in terms of transfers in. We've got nothing else agreed in here. Transfer activity, the only one we've got come in is Seisha Darek Germany, and I think he could become a really good player. But again, I wouldn't like to be starting him in the first game of the season if I can help it. So stay tuned, I'll get through it. This is going to be one of the biggest rebuilds I've had to do in a while on quite a limited budget. So we're mostly looking at free transfers. We do have the option of loaning players. So again, I will look at what's available, hopefully dropping down from the upper leagues if we can bring in 1 or 2 ringers just to bolster the squad and make it a bit easier. So stay tuned and I will be back very shortly. Welcome back. So the transfer window, or our transfer activity, has been concluded, and I don't want to overstate it, but I think this could be one of the most significant transfer windows in terms of the history then. So here we go. You'd already seen Seisha Darek Chirin come in as a young defender, a Ghanaian, so he comes in as kind of a backup squad player at centre half. We then brought in Balint Zabo on loan, who can play a number of roles across the front. Quite a tricky little player, creative, he's quite explosive, so he's going to bring a lot of creativity to that front line. He can play any of the front 3 positions, and he probably at a push could drop into centre mid as well. We then brought in Gogo Ominga, again on loan, a defensive midfielder. Again, he'll sit deep. He's probably not going to be a starter, he's just a squad filler, but as a loan player he's good to have in the squad. Martin Kern, probably the best player we've brought in so far, 18-year-old defensive midfielder. He's sitting in the deep line playmaker role. As you can see, his mental stats are absolutely phenomenal. His physical stats aren't too far behind, and again, his technical is pretty good. It's probably above average. So he's probably the best player we've got at the minute in the friendlies we've had, which I'll show you the results after. He's been one of the top performers. We brought Fabian Benson at left back. So we didn't have one. We'll see that in the squad planner afterwards. He's coming as kind of our first choice left back. We have got our under 15 youth product. He's still in the reserves, and we do have one other left back to kind of fill them gaps. Into the free transfers then, we brought in a centre half, Adam Vitchian. Again, he kind of sits in now as one of the first choice centre halves. I'd still probably say centre half is one of the areas we could still possibly improve, but again, as a first starter, he's pretty solid. He's tall, he's big, he's physical, and he can tackle. Then we brought in Salah Mergel as a third choice goalkeeper, young prospect. He's only 20 years old, still got a way to develop. He'll sit there as a third choice behind our first starting keeper in our reserve. We then brought in Istvan Satmari as an inside forward on the left hand side. Now I knew we were quite strong for wingers anyway, but he seems to offer us a bit more of a goal threat on that left hand side. So he's come in to fill that position. Scored a few goals in the friendlies, and I think he'll add some much needed firepower up front. In terms of actual physical money then, Oliver Nagy, we brought him in as a right back because we had none at one point, and we were getting very close to the start of the season. So he's come in, a lot of potential, better at the physical side, still alright at marking and a little bit of the mental game. He's only 21, he's got a bit to improve, so again another good signing. Mario Simut, he came in as another loan player. He's probably going to be the first choice right back. Young Romanian, 20 years old, coming from Haladas, and again, really good stats. Luke's solid player, good 3.5 star current ability. And then the final signing, probably one signing too many maybe, but there is a reason for it. So Ben Sve, he comes in as defensive midfielder, centre, bit of a ball winner, can play half back. Again, his stats are really good. Good tall player, jump in reach, can command the middle of the park. Now what that's done is that's put us slightly over the wage budget, so we're £106 per week over, no transfer budget left. However, within the squad we still do have a one away player, Boton Nanduri. He's put in a transfer request, wants to go. He's got a minimum release clause of 190,000 and he's on £650 per week, so I anticipate he'll probably leave before the end of the transfer window, which will put us back in the black, and we've already got his ready-made replacement. I think last time I checked, yeah, Reading want him. There were a couple other teams sniffing around, but if we could get him gone for about 190,000, somewhere around there, get him off the wage budget, then our squad is actually shaping up really nicely. In terms of the planner then, goalkeeper we've got 3, left back we've got 2, Fabian and Kalmar, centre halves got Lorenz, Vitch and Horgozi as the kind of 3 main rotational starters. with Shadaric, Chimney and Vajda to come in as the young prospects. Right back we got Simmer in on loan, first choice. Nagy is the kind of reserve player. Defensive mids we've got Martin Kern as the playmaker, stand out above the rest of them, although there's a lot of players who can fill that position. Then in terms of the two that sit in the middle of the park, we've got Kasonka, we've got Nemeth, we've got Nandori, we've got Ver, we've got Ola, so we've got quite a few strong players in there depending on which role you put them into. On the left we've got Pinter, Horvath, Soreto and Zatmari. I think Zatmari will start a lot of games out there as an inside forward. And on the right we've got Pinter, Zoreto, Zemeth, Horvath, Azabo and Gretzka. And then up front we've got Kovacs, who's already scored a hat-trick in the friendlies. We've got Zabo who can play up there. Zatmari can switch from the left, so huge options up there. In terms of what that means then in our preview, we're currently up to 9-1, so 6th best for the league, which is up from where we were 8th last year. So a little bit of an improvement. Really good squad, really excited about what's going to happen with it. In terms of the fixtures we've had then, so friendly wise we've not lost any. We've had 4 victories, 1 draw. Again, Ujpest is in the division above, we managed to beat them 3-2, so things are looking promising. All that being said, I'll squeeze in the first game of the season against Soroksa. We'll see how the new signings bed in, see if we can get any debut goals and see if we can kick off season 2 with a really promising start. So stay tuned. Hopefully you think I've done alright in the transfer window. Certainly I think we've strengthened. Could it have been better? Possibly. There were a couple of players who got away, but I think the ones we've got have certainly made us stronger. So stay tuned and I'll see you shortly. Welcome back then. So first game of the season, Budafok at home to Soroksa. Starting lineup is Gundel Takacs, the keeper from last year, stays in the nets. Got a new left back of Fabian, new centre half of Vitchen. Lorenz keeps his place at the centre of defence, and we've got a new right back of Simmer. Kern comes in as a new starter at deep line playmaker role, with Ve in front, again another debut, and Kasonka, who was more of a reserve player last year, getting himself a place in the starting lineup. We've got the tried and trusted Pinter on the right hand side of attack. Zatmari comes in as the inside forward on the left, and Kovacs, the goal machine, will continue up front. And here we go then, straight into the kick-off, and away we go. Much more excited about this team than I was last season. I think we've kept the bulk of the really good players, and it goes to show. I mean, we've got Nemeth, Zoreto, Horvath, Nandori, Orgozi, all finding themselves on the bench because we brought such good talent into the club. Again, what they need to do is kind of show that talent, make them chances and get us fired up the league. Certainly a good start to the season is going to be crucial in ensuring we get our top half finish, which is what we're after. As Kovac delivers the ball into the box, header onto the crossbar, does get recycled out. Ve, Fabian, Kern puts it back to Simmer, Lorenz recycling it back down the right hand side, coming out again and going down the left. Looks like this one might fizzle out a little bit as we just play it back on the halfway line now. Simmer plays it forward to Kovacs, he cuts down the right hand side, in it goes to Pinter and he slots it left footed past the keeper into the bottom corner. So fantastic start, 30 minutes in, 1 goal up. Some of the old sweats, Kovacs coming deep to get the ball, linking up well with Pinter. It's a cutting little through ball inside and just a lovely little finish into the bottom corner. So a good start, played it well, passed the ball about well, recycled it back in and got us just what we deserve. As we approach half time, into the dressing room then, I think we can say we're happy with how we've dominated the possession. Could do with a few more chances, we could do with making the game safe, but certainly in terms of the number of new players in there, we just need them to gel well, need to get a few points on the board and kind of get them dynamics up and running and get them relationships built. Pinter's got a knock, so we'll get Zoreto on, and again Zoreto on the bench. It's a strong substitute to bring on. If anything, I mean, you could argue it doesn't weaken us at all when we make a substitute like that. As we go into the final 15 minutes, again a game of few chances. I would have thought we would have had some more than that. Kasonka not playing particularly well as Satmari has a throw in down the left hand side. Looking for someone to play it to, into Kasonka, round to Fabian. He cuts the edge of the box. Right footed shot over the bar. Kern gets a chance to deliver it from a corner. Again, we've been working on set pieces, but we still haven't scored as many as I think we should. In it goes straight back out. and we'll get through in from that, but no more than that. Soreto into Vey, he plays it back post. Zatmari, chance to score on his debut as well, but he missed the target. I think it looks a bit more healthy now, 6 chances, 4 on target, but they're getting a chance. And right in the death in the last few minutes, they've slipped the ball to the edge of the box and equalised, which is largely against the run of play. Corner to the edge of the box. No one really comes out to put too much pressure. He's got acres of space on the back as it comes out to Sipos, and Gundeltak action knew nothing about that. So with a couple minutes left, looks like we're going to have to settle for a point. But again, first game of the season, not ideal. Couple of new players settling in well, so Vey and Kern playing well. Grisonka not so much. Might have to look at his position and see if we can adjust it slightly. Soreto and Zatmari fairly anonymous, but again, not bad for a first start to the season. I think we do have to sympathise a little bit with the number of chances created. We could have run away with that game. Unfortunately, we didn't. In terms of what we do next then, so transfer-wise, Daniel Vegetali, we could let him go just to release that wage budget. In terms of the schedule, I'll probably disappear and probably come back somewhere around the Hungarian third round of the cup. That's where we'll bring it back. We'll see how the players have settled in by then. Have a word in the comment section. Put something down there where you think we'll be. Do you think we'll be up near the top of the table or down near the bottom? What do you think for the players we've got? Until next time, have a good time, enjoy your game, and I'll see you around.